Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Azrin binti Abdullah. Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered what is depression is all about and how did it happen? Why can it happen? Lately, the problem of depression is very worrying, especially among teenagers. Why are they more prone to this problem? Studies show that the percentage of depression among teenagers is increasing. Therefore, the most important thing we should know is what can cause the depression. So, hence today, we will talk about it that based on article written by Arlington entitled "What is Depression?" So, what is depression? We can say that depression can happen to anyone, but teen depression is on a rapid rise, which is overly concerning as these teens' lives are at risk. We must actively combat this problem because we will heavily rely on teenagers to lead us in the future, which is why we must ensure they are healthy in all aspects, including their mental and emotional health. So the main thing stated through this article is that uh, depression depression is a category of mental illness or also known as mood disorders, and it mainly revolves around the abnormal constant changes in mood. There are many symptoms uh, that show you are in depressed. The symptoms include by having feelings of prolonged despair and having a loss of interest in any activities that we used to enjoy it that we used to enjoy it. And other than that is that uh, depression may have side effects such as causing issues in one's life, making one develop other mental disorders, and making one having a suicidal thought. Besides that, uh, according to this article, it stated that sleeping problems are also known as signs of depression. For example, you still feeling exhausted even though we even though you are even though you're getting enough sleep, or vice versa. Which is you couldn't get enough, you couldn't get sleep at all. In fact, a person's way of thinking also reflects the level of mental health experience that shows depression. Uh, the second thing, stated in this article is that other things may be mistaken as a depression, such as medication, uh, alcohol, and even medical problems. For example, uh, drugs and alcohol and medications can cause uh, confusion, can confuse a person whether he is suffering from depression or not, as it may be causing the same symptoms of depressions. In fact, full blown of depression is a consequence that will be experienced by someone who is extremely sad and unstable emotions for a long period. A person's uh, a person's can experience more than one mental illness, such as the anxiety, stress, when they are depressed. So here we can say that anxiety, and depression uh, are different, but they are connected with each other. Okay. The other point is that a person can experience, uh, someone's in depression uh, may be thinking about death, pain, and emotions, uh, which is lead to a person to become depressed. So what can I conclude based on this article is that although depression can be mistaken as something else. For example, just now I said about the medications, for example, the drugs, alcohol, and all that. But it still cannot be taken lightly, and several measures must be taken to ensure that uh, a person, especially teenagers, are given proper treatment for their illness. So we can say that this article is very straightforward to the public, as to ensure the public understand understand what is depression in general, uh, especially uh, especially depression among the teenagers. Is straightforward, and the article is easy to understand of what the author tried to relay on the information by him. With that, thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum, Miss. How are you? I hope you're doing fine during this pandemic situation. My name is Nur Nazira binti Nur Azizi, and today I would like to present to you point number 3 and number 4. Okay, point number 3 and 4 is focus on the second article, which is what driving the rise in teen depressed. Okay, this article is written by Rachel Kasanda-Lohman on 22nd April 2019. Based on this article, I have figured out that depression among teenagers is inclining, or other word is increase. At first, diagnosis the depression among teenagers is difficult to make, as teenagers suffer from anxiety and involved with abuse as well. Besides, symptom of teenager depressed is different from adult depressed, such as teenager is facing with the depressed from irritability, moodiness, and some other more. Meanwhile, adult may experience the depressed from insomnia, separated themselves from friends and family, and some other more. In addition, symptom of depression is different according to gender. For example, female teenager will express or showing their depressed by showing their feeling and some other more. Meanwhile, men tend to have suicide thoughts. Only 20% of teenagers that suffer from depression will get a treatment. This figure show that many teenagers out there do not get a treatment. So I think why they don't get the treatment is because they fear or they shy to share their problem with others. Okay, now I will proceed to point number 4. Okay, point number 4 that I found is there are several factors that have led to the incline of depression among teenagers. Okay, the first one is depression among the young is recent as a medical discovery based on data from the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, which has collected data drug and alcohol use and mental health in America since 1971. So the excessive use of drugs such as from the cough medicine will result a person overdose. So it is if the teenager takes too much medicine, it will make them more suffer as the medicine is if we too much get the medicine, it will make them as they take a drug, right? So the second factor that I found is young people are immersed with online world and they are overstimulated. Okay, currently young people are too much spend time with the gadget, such as from they are spend time more using gadget. What we can call is a mobile phone, right? So they are too much playing game like Dota, PUBG. So if they spend too much time with this gadget, it can make them daydreaming and always ignore those around them. So as a conclusion that I can give, if the factor that cause this depression are not prevented, the depression among teenagers will continue increase. So I think that's all from me. Now I will pass to my friend. They will explain to you more about point number 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nasurinti Binti Azman from the Group 8. I would like to discuss or present about the article from by Teresa J. Borchardt in writing in 8 July 2018. They discuss about why are so many teens are depressed. The Entertainment Tonight recent report that TV and music star Mary Osmond, 18 years old sons, Michael Brosil, commit suicide last Friday in Los Angeles. And his suicide note, he described a lifelong battle with depression. The reason for his suicide, Osmond said Michael became depressed after she and her ex-husband Brian Brosil separate, and then he entered rehab in November 2007. Right? According to suicide.org, a teen take his or her own life every 100 minutes. Suicide is the third leading cause of death for young people aged 15 to 24 years old. Approximately 20% of teens experience depressions before they reach adult, and between 10 to 15% suffer from symptoms at any one time. Only 30% of depressed teens are being treated for it. Some teens are more at risk for teen depression and suicide than others. Among them are 1 in 10 female develop depression twice as often than men. 2. Is obvious and neglected teens are at risk. 3. Adolescents who are suffer from chronic illness of other physical conditions, right? And And a new study released in January of this year is current year 2018, led by Jean Twig, a San Diego State University psycho professor, find that 5 times as many high school and college students are dealing with anxiety and other mental health issues for youth of the same, right? Okay, there's some experts say that we have raised our children with unrealistic expectation that same message perpetually feed to us by media. We should feel a good always, and say parents have haven't not touch kid the real coping skill they need into the turbulence world. I suspect the guys who are never have a kid park up strange carrot on them. In my opinion, is all of the above and more. More experts would agree with me that there are more stress today than in previous generation. Stress trigger depression, mood disorder, and so those who are predisposed to it by their creative wiring and genius are pretty much guaranteed some symptoms of depression and the confusing and difficult time to adolescence. I think modern lifestyle, lack of communication, and female support, less exercise, no casual, non-unstructured technology, play, less sunshine, and more computer is the factor into the equations, as well as our diet. I know how I feel after lunch process of food, and I don't need to help nutrition to support to the effect my 8-year-old sons. Finally, let's throw out a toxic on our environment. Our fish are dying. A clue in the climate system that they call the drum. They call a brain emotional center is not so far behind. Maybe the same amount for people to have genius and predispose them to depression in the has in have in the great for the great depression. I think that's all from my side, and thank you so much.
Hi, my name is NORFARHANA Binti Sulaiman. So I will be presenting on point number 7 and number 8 in the reason of why teenagers in this age are more depressed than ever. Okay, so for the first point, the point number 7, teenagers depression is a grave and mood crippling disorder. It can alter various aspects of a teenager's life, such as the way they're feeling, they're thinking, and also how they function and how they're functioning. Depression in teenagers actually happen most likely due to the increase in academic pressures, social challenges, and also hormonal changes. For some teenagers, depression is described as the feelings of desolation and also hopelessness, in which they feel hopeless and unable to function like they used to. They might feel like they are failure and so on. And for some other teenagers, depression it's make them feel constantly distressed and also upset. Like they continuously feel like sad, lonely, and something like that. Okay, for the next point number 8, I will be presenting on the several ways to curb depression in the teenagers. Okay, for the first ways to curb depression is teenagers need to talk to a person that they are comfortable with in regard of their problem. If they are having problem, they should talk to someone. For example, that they can share to their families, their family members, their friends, their colleague, or even counselor. Actually in Malaysia we have like one organization which called Befriender, in which they provide their service to help anyone in society to develop a better emotional self-awareness, and also to improve emotional health and also well-being, in which if someone is having like problem that they want to share with someone but they're unable to find one, they actually can call the Befriender team, as they also provide everything like their website, their call or hotline number, that we can those who in need actually can reach them with the number and maybe can talk to them in regard of what's the problem that they are having. And then the second one, teenagers need to acknowledge on how they feel and how important it is to share their feelings. This because if we bottle up our feeling, actually it can be hard and increase the burden of the problem itself, because we cannot think like because we keep on thinking about the problem, and that's the reason why we cannot function normally. And then the third one, teenagers need to avoid distancing themselves from other people, as it can worsen their depression. For those who are having depression, actually can by having friends around you, family member, to keep a company, because it will help you to release the burden of the problem by not thinking it too much. And maybe you can go out and doing outside activities with friends and families, because we don't want the person who having problem keep on thinking about their problem, and when they cannot find the solution, they will do something else, like maybe suicide and everything. Okay, and then last but not least, the teenagers should avoid using drugs or consuming alcohol, because there's many ways to curb the depression, and using drugs or alcohol is not the best option that they should go for. Because if the one who depressed are using the drug and also alcohol to curb their stress, to curb their depression, it might lead to another addiction, which is the drug addiction or alcohol addiction. This might adding on more problem in their life, instead of to settle the problem, but they add on another problem in their life. So the conclusion is the teen depression is a serious problem among teenagers, thus it should not be taken lightly. That's all from me. Thank you.